Hey there, art students. Welcome to Art Madness. This is game two. We're still in the first round. We had an exciting one last week that people voted on. Miss Eedle's going to get to that in just a second. I want to introduce all of our analysts here. I am Mr. Smith. With me, as always, my art tag team partner, the champs here of the art department, Miss Eedle, and our special guest today, our guest analyst here for game two. We got a couple of really good ones here today for you. We've got the principal, the lady at the top of Merton Williams Middle School, Tracy Czebatol, Ms. Czebatol to y'all. How you doing, Ms. Czebatol?
I'm good, thank you. I'm a little nervous.
Oh, there should be no nerves at all.
This is all fun stuff.
It's easy when it's basketball. I know who should win.
Yeah. Well, we got to kind of analyze and go through, and then we're going to be able to kind of make our best guesses.
All right.
Okay, so first, before we kind of move on, let's go back to our bracket. So last week we had Kehinde Wiley versus Anatsui, and when we kind of tallied up all of your votes, we had a winner, and our winner was Kehinde Wiley. So if you remember a little bit from last time, he was he's an American, African-American portrait artist, and he does these really cool paintings based off of European portraiture. And so he's our winner. So whoever wins from our game today, he's going to go, or she is going to go up against Kehinde Wiley for our semifinals, right? Yeah, our or they are our finals. I have to think.
Kehinde Wiley has moved to the semi, and he will face the winner of the matchup we're about to preview.
Right, exactly. All right.
We're going from, I believe, the Elite Eight to the Final Four.
There it is.
Yes. Thank you. I needed someone to give me my sports lingo. All right, so we'll get started with our first artist. So down here, we're moving on to our next, which is Barbara Hepworth and Christo and Jean-Claude. So our first one up is Barbara Hepworth.
Now we've got a matchup here of a British sculptor versus a French and Bulgarian installation artist. We got some wild things going on here today, but let's start with Barbara Hepworth. Now, Barbara Hepworth, British sculpture artist. You can see she lived from 1903 to 1975. She was very, very, very highly acclaimed sculptor during the 20th century. The 20th century art names that you've heard of Picasso. You might have heard of Rodin. You might have heard of Henry Moore, maybe. She knew all these guys, and she was as good, if not better, than all of them. This was a very talented woman, and she made her notoriety in an era when women weren't making a lot of noise, and she made a lot of noise. Ms. Czebatol, we've talked about Barbara Hepworth. If you've seen her work, what do you think?
I'm interested. I'm impressed. I'm impressed with her as a person because, of course, anyone who's breaking out of traditional gender roles has a nod from me. So I'm really excited about the fact that a female was taking the lead right here with this sculpting. Honestly, the sculpture at the bottom, the wood and white one, is probably the most interesting to me, really just because of the material. I love art that's made of wood, of stone, of metal. The pieces at the top, they look a little more museum-y, don't really catch my attention. However, I'm very fascinated by the work that you shared with me and where she went from the beginning toward the end. I'm also really fascinated by the time period that she was alive, who she knew, what she was doing, and I just think she'd be someone great to know, and I love her work. I love that piece she's working on. It looks very tedious and very involved.
Yeah, she's moved from these smaller to these large scale, like the ones you see, that one at the top that you see in the picture with her. And so as her kind of notoriety grew, her pieces got bigger too, which is also really cool.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too, like that top one, I love seeing the tools she's working with. She's not working with, a paintbrush or a pencil. She's working with things that, gender speaking, would have been more traditionally male tools and pieces wherever they were being used. And of course, that is really pulling me toward her because of the whole feminism component here.
Yeah, I would have to agree. What do you think, Mr. Smith?
I think she's incredibly talented. I think she was a contemporary of some of the names, and she was right there with them. And her notoriety, her influence on not just female artists, but artists from the 20th century and then into today. You can see her influence on sculpture, on design, on the way people think, on the way things are put together, and she's extraordinary. but she's good, quite an opponent here. Let's not sell the next gang short here.
All right, so for our next one, we've got Christo and Jean-Claude, a husband and wife team, both born in 1935.
On the
Jean-Claude,
same day.
same day, I didn't know that.
In 2 different countries, a couple that would one day marry and be a very influential artist. They were born on the same exact day. I
did not know that, so you learn something every day. Recently, Jean-Claude has passed away in 2009, but he's still, Christo's still been working on some of his pieces, and one of the pieces in the form that you guys will see, Floating Piers, is a piece that he started and kind of did on his own. But they do these really awesome large-scale installations. They have to do with a specific environment that the piece is installed in. For example, the one on the left there is off Miami, small islands off Miami. So they've picked particular pieces, they've installed in certain locations, and a lot of times they have to do with fabric and wrapping, and also to be really enjoyed by the viewer, you need to kind of go to these places to see them. They're not installed in museums. You really have to experience them in the environment they were intended to be in. So, what do you guys think?
Ms. Czebatol, this is real different than the last one. What do you think?
I have to be honest, the things that are drawing me towards this artist team is the fact that they don't seem to be bound by location. So a lot of times when you guys share artists with me, they kind of grew up or existed in a space, and that's where their artwork originated. You told me that there is they have art in Europe, in the Middle East, in Texas, in California, in Florida. So I'm like, they're everywhere. I really appreciate that. That top one with the umbrellas reminds me of a lot of the things you'll see in Manhattan from time to time. I love a good art installation. I love something that makes people stop and ponder. I love anything that says why. Color seems very important to them. Color is not very important to me, but I appreciate the reasons that you've shared with me that they do it. In this particular span of 3 pictures, I do not care for the one in Miami because I struggle with plastic near the water, and that just could be my upbringing right now. I don't understand the bottom one, so I would need to research more on that. It looks like something under construction. The top one, I completely appreciate. It reminds me of when you see a windmill on a road trip, and then all of a sudden you see 1,000 and your mind is blown. That top one looks to me like it would be a great surprise. Although the other artwork you shared with me also told me that they're there for the people. So I really appreciate that they're trying to bring art and beauty to the people. So I'm kind of impressed with this couple. I'm really impressed. Their work seems to be somewhat humble and full of messages. So I have a lot of curiosity, and you may have me looking up some artists later after this, which is not how I typically roll.
I love that you said that where you did, because what they would project is that the message of their work was purely aesthetic. They want to be inspiring from a beauty standpoint. They want to inspire joy. They want you to look at the Reichstag there at the bottom, and they want you to think that it's breathing and that it's alive. They want that impact. They want to take these environments. This is my sketchbook. This is my canvas. To them, the world is their canvas. And that was their biggest message, and continues to be Christo's message today.
It's very interesting. I know there's a piece that the kids will see later that you showed, those trees. I feel like there's a message there, and I feel like my heart should hurt when I see it, but I don't quite understand it. So now I've got to go look them up.
Modern art, baby. You don't always understand it.
Yeah. All right. So let's get down to business. Who are we going to vote for?
This is really tough. I'm kind of mad at you two because you're asking me to pit a feminist against this couple who influences people around the world. And so I guess I'm going to go for the person. I feel like the Hepworth work is probably more elite, probably more for the wealthy people, probably more in places where you have to have money if you don't live there to experience it. I feel like the husband-wife team is more accessible to the people, and I'm always about bringing more to more people. So I'm definitely going to go with Christo and Jean-Claude.
Wow. There we go.
And I'm going to predict that the students are going to vote with me.
Oh,
ladies and gentlemen, let's pull the curtain back a little bit. The conversation we had before this, I expected her to go the other way, so I'm already floored.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if this were real March Madness and that were perhaps Duke or Syracuse was Hepworth, but then you'd be like, whoa, the husband-wife team is Kentucky. You got to go for UK because you know they're going to bring it out.
I was in the building when VCU beat Duke in I believe it was the first round in Buffalo. That we might have just had that same upset here.
Could be. I think the kids are going to go with me. I don't think the kids are going to understand Hepworth as much as they're going to appreciate some of the work of the husband-wife team.
Well, there you have it, folks. Let's make sure you get your votes in if you find them in Google Classroom under classwork, and we'll see who wins.
Get your votes in.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for coming, Ms. Czebatol. To all of our students, we miss you, we love you, and please get these votes in, and we will see you soon.
Bye.